Hello, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 76 of people who think they know everything about true crime. And today we'll be analysing two men, Perry Smith and Richard Hitchcock, and we're going to be comparing them to objects. I've got a special guest. Her name's Morgan Watkins. Please introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Morgan Watkins, and I have a valid opinion on this crime case because I didn't watch the documentary. I actually read the book. Alright, that's not necessary, but if you're going to be comparing, Perry Smith to two objects, what are you going to be comparing him to? I'd probably compare him to a lamp and a mirror. A mirror representing the origin of his sociopathic behavior, and the lamp representing a product. Oh, that's interesting. Why though? Well, the mirror would represent how he was a mere reflection of his environment during his childhood, and he experienced violence during his childhood. He had nuns who abused him in very inappropriate ways, and from when he was very young, him and his family lived in a house car, and they lived off of rotten bananas and condensed milk, and his parents would always violently fight all of the time, and so he never learned self-regulation, and self-regulation is something very important to learn from a young age because that is what's going to influence you in your adult life. And so since Perry has this inner child within him that's been damaged and corrupted, he tends to project all of his anger onto others if they do the correct thing to get him angry. And that would lead into why I'd say he's a lamp, because once you turn him on in a dark room, he's going to illuminate that entire room. The entire room is him now. The room has no existence outside of him. And if you're in that room, then he's going to filter you through his own experiences, and chances are you will be hurt. Oh, that's quite insightful. I might have to give you a pat on the back for that one. I like that a bit. But what do you think about Richard, Dick? Well, I think that Dick has a bit of a different sort of story. I think his problem is more neurological, and he could have been harboring antisocial tendencies because, he probably was upset because he couldn't get into college to be an engineer because his parents couldn't pay him, but he probably felt really guilty about, being upset about that. And, he also, as he said, him and his family were never down and out, but they did not have as much money. He might have felt insecure and less than his peers, even though he was quite successful in high school. But I would say he's more of he's an egg. He was broken, basically. He got in that car crash, and even though the scan said that he never really had any severe damage, there most likely was some sort of damage to his prefrontal cortex, because that is the part of the brain that allows for self-regulation. And after, his father said that after the car crash, he was never the same boy. And I think, he's really just this egg, and he was a solid egg, and he had these things inside of him, and then he was not able to regulate that anymore after his car crash because probably his prefrontal cortex was damaged, and so now he's just kind of spooled out all over the place. He's on the pan, he's sizzling hot. His antisocial behaviors have flared up, and now they are exposed, and now he goes out and he drinks and does things that people who are sociopaths do, like, murder families. And can I add on to that? Can I actually say what I think his product object would be? Yeah, go ahead. This might be a bit far-fetched, but I think he's a bit of a television, if that makes any... Yeah, okay. I'm thinking he's a television because, once he's controlled by, his environment, right? So, maybe his environment is like the remote, and so you turn on the television. So there's all these channels in the television, and those channels, all different facets, I can't really pronounce the word, of his personality. And you flip through all of them, right? And it changes when it's perceived. Because if you notice, that's one thing about Dick that you can really notice, he likes to be a bit, I won't say boisterous, but he likes to be a bit grandiose when he meets other people. He likes to crack jokes to make them laugh, Like when he was in the car, he was about to murder this guy, who was so gracefully allowed them to hitchhike with him. He's cracking jokes, trying to make the guy laugh. you know. And he also he's wanted to hide. He's wanted to hide what's inside of him, you know. There's a bunch of things inside of him. There's a bunch of channels, different television channels inside of him. But he doesn't want you to see him, you know. But the remote will see him through, because he isn't in control of himself anymore, you know, because he can't regulate himself, like you said, you know, that prefrontal cortex.
You know, that
thing.
I think
that's
I
what
do
I'm
agree
thinking.
With that.
You know?
Actually, that's pretty cool. You know, and in total, I'd say if I had to sum up the both of them in one object, a Rubik's Cube maybe, because a Rubik's Cube, you know, when you first get it, it's all put together, okay, but you mess with it, you scramble it up, there's a pretty high chance you're not going to get it back where it needs to be. And I think that really does represent the mindset of Dick and Perry. They are people with unorganized thought patterns, and they cannot regulate themselves, you know, and their environments really have a strong impact on them. And I think that might as well perfectly sum
All
up
right.
that,
well, thank you for your time, Morgan. That was quite insightful. Had a good time here. Well, that's it for this episode, and tune in next week at Pacific Time, 6 p.m. What happened to the Walker family?